Hi, this is Irv Shapiro with MakeWithTech. As we head into spring, slowly here in the Midwest, many of us start thinking about spring cleaning. And if you're anything like me, you have one or more drawers in your home that are a complete mess. You can barely open them. Stuff is thrown in. Well, today, I'm going to teach you how you can use your 3D printer to customize and print inserts, various types of containers to organize those drawers. So hopefully you'll end up with something that looks like this instead of a mess of items. So stay tuned and let's learn something together. Before we get into the main content of the video, if this is the first time you're watching this channel, here with MakeWithTech, we teach people how to create, innovate, and make things. It could be something relatively simple like a pillbox that's just the right size to fit into your carry-on bag. It could be a full set of drawers. This is a little mini replica. I guess you could use this one for a dollhouse. It could be things made out of wood, electronics, a range of things that you can make at home because of the revolution that's occurred in desktop technology. So if you're interested in this stuff, please give me a thumbs up because YouTube will use that as an indication that people like my videos. Subscribe to the channel, share this video and others with your friends. Now, there are a lot of places to look on the internet for various types of containers. And I'm going to show you some of my favorites today. This is one I really like. This is a container for holding all those little batteries, those coin-style batteries. But in addition to that, and perhaps more importantly, I'm going to show you how to customize them, how to make your containers exactly the right size you need so you can stack them into a drawer. Now, I could have even done a better job of measuring these containers for this drawer, but you get the idea. To do that, instead of going right to one of the classical repositories of models, the one that comes to mind for everyone very often is Thingiverse, which literally has 1 million plus models and is a wonderful place to find things, we're going to go to a piece of software that I created here at MakeWithTech called models.makewithtech.com. And what's unique about models.makewithtech.com is two things. Number one, it makes it a little faster to search Thingiverse because instead of a whole bunch of big pictures and eye candy, I've designed an interface that is very efficient and very quick. But more importantly, it allows you to use models that are in a particular format, and there are thousands of them. And those models were designed in a program called OpenSCAD. And if you have a model in Thingiverse designed in OpenSCAD, you can customize it. So we could have printed this with 4 compartments or 1 compartment or 12 compartments in whatever size we want. And I'm going to show you how to do that all from your browser without learning anything about computer-aided design or graphics or complicated stuff. So now let's go to models.makewithtech.com and take a look. So I'm on that page and you'll see here down on the bottom is basically the FAQ built right into this screen. And the reason for that is I wanted this to be really easy. There are no ads on the site. There's not a lot of eye candy. It's a site to get things done. So if I go over here and I see a little eye, that means there's more information there. But I'm going to click here and I'm going to type in container and click on search. And this is going to go out to Thingiverse and look for containers. And that's all good and fine, but what you'll see here is this is really fast. I can search through these very, very quickly. But you might say, well, that's interesting, but in fact, I can't see any of these pictures. So if you put your mouse over one of these pictures and you click on it, you'll see a large blow up of that particular image. Now, and that's nice, but now let me show you some magic. And the magic is that if I click on this little checkbox over here that says OpenSCAD, then I'm still searching for containers. I could hit search again if I chose to. But now all of the containers that it's showing me are customizable. Let me show you what I mean by that. So over here, we'll see a picture of this container. If I click on the actual thing name, the description, over on the right-hand side, we'll see its thing ID and the author. And I can click on 3D and see any of the parts that the author has uploaded in 3D. But the magic is that if I click on this little box here, it's going to take me to the customizer. Now, the customizer is a feature that used to work a few years ago on Thingiverse. I'm not sure why it stopped working, but it hasn't worked reliably for years. In fact, if I go to my customizer queue on Thingiverse, I see things that have been sitting out there for a year. And what you see here is a picture of the item, the description of the item, and then below it, things you can customize. So instead of printing this in the default sizes, let's say I want this to be exactly 30 millimeters wide, and I want the length to be 50. Now, I might want to reprint this particular size box over and over again. So I click on Save Retrieve Parameters, and I give this a name. I could say 30 by 50 trial print or trial model, and click on Save Parameter Set. Now when I come back into this model again, I'll see those save parameters. I could do a restore to use them over again. But this is what I'm looking for now, and everything seems to be fine here. So now I'm going to queue this for rendering. What does that mean? It's actually sending it off to OpenSCAD. And I have a configuration of OpenSCAD running in the AWS environment that supports 1,000 simultaneous renders. That means 1,000 people could be trying to build models all at once. If I look over here, we'll see this model is rendering. Once it's complete, it will disappear from this list. But let's go back to search now, and let me show you some of the models I really like the most. So let's start with this button battery case that I think is just a wonderful thing. And what I've done is I've written down the actual thing numbers for these. And if you type a thing number right into the search bar and click search, it'll go right to that thing or to any other things that talk about that thing in the description. So we can click on this here, and you can see a picture on the screen of what this looks like. Now I can click on the description, and now we can look at it in 3D over here, or I can click on Customizer. And under the Customizer, I can take and say how big I want this box to be, and it will automatically auto-size everything else. Now, if I'm really curious about how this works, well, OpenSCAD is more or less a programming language for 3D objects. And the designer types in these commands and then gives you the option to customize them over here. So let's look at some other models that I really like. So we're going to go back over here, and this is a box, a model of a box that you can make in a lot of different sizes and shapes. So that's called a simple box, 1341482. I'm going to search for that box. Simple, fully customizable box. I'm going to click on that. We could see some examples. You can make round boxes with this particular model. You can make a box of multiple compartments. I'm going to click now on Customizer. And we can now set the box height and width. And as importantly, we can go over here and set the number of sections. So this is 5 by 5. Maybe I want it 5 by 3. And we can define the lid that slides over the top. And I'm going to give it a little more tolerance to make the lid a little bit bigger because this is just a little bit tight. I could save that, and you can see I've already saved some before. I can say Q for rendering. Okay. Now let's look at our queue. The one from before is not there anymore. So that means it's in the results queue over here. And I can look at the box that we printed. That's right over here. And if for some reason it doesn't look right, or maybe it didn't generate an STL file at all, I could look at the log file. And on the top is general information. And on the bottom, you'll see the fonts that are supported in the system, because sometimes in a model it asks you to select a font, and it'll work better if you select one that's in this list. But finally, I can download that model. So that's the rectangular folding case. And now if I say I want to open that, it's going to open it up in Cura so I can slice it. So I created a custom model, just the size and dimensions I was looking for. And now I'm going to open it up in Cura and slice it for my printer. So we see here our model is loaded, ready to be sliced. Now, I did these sample prints on an Flsun Super Racer, and the reason is it's a blindingly fast printer. And in fact, to make them print even faster, I took the default profile, which is 125 millimeters per second. Yeah, you're used to hearing 30 and 50 and 60. And then I went to the front panel of the printer and told it to print at 2x. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to print at 250 millimeters per second. Depending on the operation, it will be faster. So most of these prints printed in about 30 minutes. On a typical printer, let's say an Ender 3, they'll print in about double that, maybe a little more. But I'm going to show you a way towards the end of this video how to print really fast on any printer. So let's go back, and I don't need these log files any longer. And I can go over here and, oh, my next model finished. So if I go back here to refresh, we'll now see our next model. And this is the one that we made with all of the individual compartments. Okay, once again, I don't need the log files or the STL file. Let's go back to search and let's look at a couple more that I find really interesting. So this is a round container that has a really nice screw lid, and the lid is curled. That means it's textured. It's just really nicely done. And this makes a perfect pillbox or small screws or maybe even small batteries. So let's go to that one, and I have the number right here, 612709. We can click on the picture here. See a nice big picture. We can click on the item. And it's retrieving the OpenSCAD file. And there's some samples that the author has provided here. We're going to keep clicking through until we get to the OpenSCAD file and click on Customizer. So now we can pick the dimensions. we can pick the appearance. And under expert, we can tell whether we're printing the container itself or the lid and the style of lid. And then when we're done, we can do a save retrieve if we want to. My custom container for pills. We could save that. So now let's actually make this appropriate for that. So we're going to say we're going to have, let's say, 6 compartments there. So that would be nice for pills. And we'll make this a little smaller, a really small one. Let's make it only 15 millimeters high. Let's go back to save retrieve. And I'm going to go to my custom container for pills and I'm going to say overwrite it. So resave it there. Then I could go to Q for rendering. And now that model is being produced while we go to work on the next thing. Now, this little drawer set I think is fascinating. And you can use this model that was created by Code and Make. Code and Make is a guy in Europe that does some beautiful, beautiful models, all for free. And you can do whole different drawer sets. So let me show you that one real quick. And that is 5259832. I'm going to search for it. We can see a big picture of it, and you can see the types of things you can make with it. And these print relatively quickly. So we'll go over here, and under Customize, once again, you can customize the drawer, you can customize the chest. So let's say we wanted, we'll make it 3 drawers across and 5 drawers high. And it's automatically going to size the chest for the individual drawers that we provided. I'm going to queue that for rendering. We can take a look at our queue now. And we can look at our results queue, and we can see we have another container over here in the results queue, and this is the round one, the pillbox that we created. I'm going to delete the extra files that we don't really need. And while that's working, I want to show you something really interesting. Let's look at a way to make this all much faster. If I want to organize a bunch of drawers, I need to print a whole bunch of containers. And they might take a long time to print. So how can I print them faster? Well, let's think about a container. A container could just be a solid object printed in vase mode. Vase mode in a slicer is a special mode where it only prints the bottom, no top, and a single wall all the way around. So this is a vase mode print. Now, it's a little flimsy, but these are inside a drawer with weight in them. They're not going anywhere. So how do I print these? Well, I created a special model for Thingiverse that lets you specify solid objects like this with either rounded or square corners like the other ones I showed you. And then you can slice them in vase or spiralize mode. Let me show you how to do that. So that model is 5341217. So let's search for it. Select vase mode, click on the customizer, and now you see I can specify whatever sizes I want automatically and whether I want round corners. When I'm ready, I can say queue for rendering. And let's go look over in the queue and we'll see the system is now processing. It's converting our SCAD file into a 3D model. Okay, if we look at the screen now, we'll see the queue is empty. So it's in the results section. We'll see we have an STL file here. We can take and look at that STL file here on the screen. Now, it's a solid object. How do I make it a container? Well, I'm going to take and I'm going to download that item here. And then I'm going to open it, and my computer is set up to open in Cura STL files. You can open it in whatever slicer you'd want. If you're using PrusaSlicer, we're going to use vase mode. In Cura, we're going to use spiralize mode. So now we'll see this on our screen here. and we can take and rotate this around and look at our model, and we'll see it's solid. It's not a container. So we're going to go down here to the option that's called Special Modes. Now, if for some reason you don't see this, come on up here to this hamburger menu and change from perhaps basic to one of the more advanced modes. So we're going to go over here and say spiralize outer contour, and now we're going to slice this. Let me close this while it's slicing. And it's sliced. Now we're going to go to preview mode, and what you'll see here is now we have a container. So, what have we learned today? We've learned it's really easy to get organized if you have a 3D printer. And we've learned that you can customize your prints by using models.makewithtech.com. And even more importantly, you can make them print really fast if you use solid models, and we showed you an example of that, and you print them in Vase mode. Well, folks, if this was helpful to you today, please click on that bell. Make sure you like this video so YouTube will know that you're interested in my videos. And share this with all your friends. If you want to talk about this or other videos, you can always go to forum.makewithtech.com. Thanks so much for watching today, and let's continue to learn together.